What's up, guys? How's it going?
Woo!
It's the return of our soundboard. I
Yeah.
finally found a soundboard that works.
Here we go.
So we're back with the soundboard for at least the clapping. Like always, this is the award-winning SA Magazine Best of 2020 Podcast of the Year, the 210 Culture Podcast, presented by Southtown 101 and Pub Sports Radio, and of course the Texas Bearded Cartel and Southside Craft Soda, home of the new Bevo flavors, Limoncito flavors, and of course the original Texas Cola. And of course, I'm your host, G.
And I'm Dom.
And Donna.
She's back again. I know
I'm
you guys have missed her.
back.
It's been 3 weeks now since we've last seen you
Yes.
on an episode.
No,
And
everybody was crying. I'm back. It's okay.
I know.
mainly
I'm
Jose.
here.
So Jose has a new intern in the back. I guess we can
Uh-oh.
call him intern.
He's not an intern. He's a hire. Gee, that's very demeaning.
Wow.
Okay.
You're so rude.
New trainee.
Where
New
was your
training.
reporting
So
on
rude.
that?
New trainee. But of course, our guest today is Mr. Eric.
Hello, how are you?
Eric Velasquez.
Yes.
I'm always bad at bad names.
Yeah, he is.
Gotta
Um,
put expression on the Z.
Right.
Yes. But of course, thank you for taking time to be on the show
Yes,
here with
thank
us,
you.
Yeah, for
especially with
sure.
everything going on and all
Oh,
the
yeah.
new rules that change instantly, minutely.
Yeah, just
Um,
don't get too close to me.
I'll try not.
Please.
Um,
He's like, you're ridiculous. I'm
Of
like,
course,
"Sweet,
we
chill."
have a packed show today.
Always.
First off, let's get the last plug in. Make sure you go get the new Talking Hand shirt that's sitting in the front there.
Talking with hands.
Fight Island
Rated E for everyone.
shirt there, so you can get that on the Pub Sports link, pubsportsradio.com. Right, Jose?
Yes, there's a shop. We have shirts getting on there. We have new shirts. It's a good time. 210 Culture. If you guys want a shirt on there, just ask me. We
Yeah.
can get designers like my man Victor to make you guys a shirt.
Alrighty then.
First of all, you
Oh, boy.
called
Oh God.
you
here we go.
called our new sound guy an intern, and then you didn't even say his name.
Wow.
I told you I'm bad with names.
Introducing
I was
our
gonna
new
say.
part of our podcast.
I'm bad with names.
Victor.
But y'all didn't let us get that far anyway. Y'all kept cutting me off before then, so it doesn't matter.
Excuses.
I like this theme of slandering G today.
I know.
Let's keep it going.
I know. I'm gonna go.
Oh,
I'm gonna
he's a
go-
good cry
I'm gonna go
actor.
find the guy from Southtown that threatened to give everybody Rona. I'm gonna bring him in next week.
Wow.
Just to teach y'all a lesson.
I'm gonna wear a bubble.
Shout out to the film room because Amanda Martinez, I guess she's part of the film room. She says,
Mhm.
have a
Film
great
room.
show.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Amanda.
Thank you.
Shout out to
Appreciate
Amanda.
it.
So we always start the show with what we did over the weekend. So since you're our guest, what'd you do over the weekend?
We passed out some food.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Food
right.
distribution. Yeah. It was raining, so people were kind of like, "Are you gonna?" People didn't think we were gonna show up, but
Mm.
we put some tarp over those boxes and still made it out there. And yeah, we were just. I had one of my buddies come out, and he was out there with the sign, directing people over here. So it worked out. It worked out really good. So
Good. I'm
Wow.
glad you guys had it.
Especially with this African, was it Saharan dust storm?
right.
Yeah.
Like it's been looking like it's gonna be raining since third Friday.
Right.
I mean,
It
I
does.
was like, man, everybody's allergies going crazy right now.
Right.
Mhm.
And there was somebody who messaged me who said, "Do you deliver to COVID patients?" I'm like,
Uh,
no.
Give me a hazmat suit.
But,
and then
right,
we'll
right.
talk.
But she literally lived down the street. So I was like, you know what? I'll
I
just drop
will.
it off.
Outside.
Drop it off. and-
Contactless.
Yeah, yeah. So, just trying to be
That's
careful
nice,
and
yeah.
and I've delivered to other places,
Mhm.
even like to Fredericksburg Road or
Oh.
Alamo Heights. But
Mhm.
it's just because obviously people can't come out.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if I'm like, well, what's gonna hurt just to go out there and just drop it off?
Right,
So-
yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely understand that.
Yeah.
G,
Oh,
what'd you do?
What did we do? Nothing.
Nothing.
I finally bought a Raspberry Pi, so that was my project over the
Bought or
weekend.
made?
I bought one to make it into a game system, and I finally just left the house figuring out how to do it. So when I get home, it's gonna be some fun. Of course, I own all the games legally.
Quote unquote.
But yeah, it's always been like for the last 2 years. I was like, I'm gonna buy one. So Friday, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy one. So I spent all day yesterday and today trying to get it to work. So it was fun, especially once you buy all the parts that you need to buy that they don't tell you that you need to buy.
Yeah, they don't give you all the info on that.
Yeah, so it was fun.
Well, no, you're making it illegally. So yeah,
It's not. It's perfectly legal.
I'm gonna tell
It's
It's
you.
just-
legal in an illegal sense.
It's perfectly legal. It's just illegal if they catch you with games
Just
on there.
because, just
that you don't
because
know
it's
it.
illegal doesn't make it not right.
It's
Two negatives does make a
as long,
positive.
as long as you have the physical
I mean, I guess
games
so.
with you, it is perfectly legal.
Facts, because he did buy those.
So yeah, Fawn, that's it. Sup, guys? Hi, Fawn.
Stop.
Stop, Rick. So of course I did a very bad job in the intro because y'all keep slandering me and I'm gonna go cry. So Eric, of course, you are a candidate running for the House of Representatives,
Yes,
District
yes.
118.
Yes.
Yes.
So for people who kind of have no idea what that means, you wanna kind of like break it down?
Yeah, we're part of the legislature, which creates or amends laws in the state of Texas. Me personally, I'd like to remove a lot of laws that are on there or just amend them. But just trying to be an actual representative for people and trying to give people knowledge to empower themselves to take back over the government, like to where the government works for you, not the other way around. So I'm very proponent for that. I'm very just look, you know, during when we're doing the food distribution,
Mhm.
I was giving boxes and people were like, "Oh, I'm going to vote for you." I'm like, no, don't vote for me because I'm giving you something for free.
Right.
Vote for me because you agree with my policies and my stance. And if you do, great. If you don't, then you don't have to vote for me. And I think a lot of people that are running aren't transparent like that. They just want your vote
Right.
at whatever cost, and
Yeah.
and I don't want that
Yeah.
because I feel like that's not fair to that person or to the people itself. So, but yeah, so just being a representative and just listening to people and finding out what we can do to make things better, and really just supporting the area and not just the area, but even just in the city as a whole or in the state
Mhm.
as a whole. So, but that's what that is. I mean, in a nutshell. But yeah, this would be my first time running for a state election, and I'm just excited. And even if it doesn't pan out, I still want to be entrenched in the community because
Right.
I just see how people are and how much people care about their city.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what that is.
And then of
Yeah.
course, I wouldn't have known this if it wasn't for Roy. So shout out to Roy.
Roy,
You're
Carver's
actually
a
running
friend.
as part of the Green Party and not
No, libertarian.
or Libertarian. That's right. I'm sorry.
Libertarian Party,
Libertarian
people,
Party.
not Green Party.
My bad. My bad.
Some of us actually
It was
looked
him.
it up.
It was
It
him.
was
Just
me.
kidding.
It was me. Please kill me. Please kill me.
G's about to get murdered. When he
I'm
gets outta
done.
here,
I'm
guys.
done. Bye, guys.
This
Gee.
is why you were roasted.
Eric's like, fuck this shit about.
I'm done.
Bye.
Yeah,
Yes, but
So
of course,
Libertarian.
so libertarian, a lot of people don't know what libertarians are. It's just either Democrat or Republican, but we're very much for small government. A lot of people confuse us with anarchists, but we're not. We're just small government, civil liberties. You know, you do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. You know, so there's different things that come up, but yeah, libertarian always gets looked over because we're in a two-party minded system,
Mhm.
and you know, it's like, oh well, I don't know what that is. So it's up to me as a person to educate and just try to show people, look, there are other options.
Mhm.
And it just makes it hard when people in the Democrat or Republican parties make it difficult for us to even
Mhm.
run for office.
Right.
Right.
And they've already put a lot of roadblocks in front of us. And that's what's frustrating. And I could go run in the Democrat or Republican race,
Mhm.
but I feel morally in my own morals that I want to do this for me and for the party to advance it forward and not just take the easy way out. Because
Right.
if you take the easy way out, you're not going to make any changes in the future
Right.
by
Mhm.
taking, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So it's a libertarian party. You know, you could ask me any questions about it, you know, if you have anything you want to know about it or anything like that. But yeah, that's where I'm running on that ticket.
Okay.
Okay. Respect.
So it's
Respect.
basically like Democratic and Republican, like kind of mixed in
Different
one.
qualities from
Like
one
whatever you
into
believe
one
in, like
group.
Right. So
because
we,
I have stuff that I believe, you know, Democratic, and then I have other stuff where like I'm
Right.
Republican on. So is that what?
yeah, so
a
it's
libertarian
exactly,
can be?
you know, we're centrist. We're right in the middle. So, you know, I am pro Second Amendment, but I'm also for immigration reform. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we change how that system is set up because
Mhm.
we're not making it feasible for these people to come over
Mhm.
and do it. They keep changing the rules on it,
Mhm.
and then so. But yeah, I'm for pro marijuana, which I don't smoke. I've never smoked ever,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with it. Like I don't
Right.
care. But yeah, so it's just for things like that
Okay.
I've talked to a lot of people, and especially on the south side, like about 88% of them they agree with it,
Right.
and they're
yeah.
like, wow, I never knew I could agree with somebody, that's
Right.
not a Democrat Republican,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just people being open-minded
Mhm.
and
Okay.
realizing where their home is. So.
Yeah.
So basically, the Libertarian Party is like a gray line between black and white. Republican, Democrat, y'all are just in the middle. Caught in
We're
the middle of between them.
right, and we're
Quality wise, qualities.
right, and there's very few of us, but I think that you have to have somebody who can reach out and to the people and be approachable,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because a lot of libertarians, they are weird. I'm not gonna lie, they're weird.
They're
Weirdos.
different.
Right, they're different.
Mhm.
But to connect with the general population, you need somebody who can
Be normal.
be
with them.
normal,
Mhm.
and not that they're not normal. It's just some people might be put
Maybe
off
like
with it.
extremist.
Right.
Yeah, not
kind of
extremists,
stuff.
just very they have their thoughts already like
Like
Mm.
radical,
Right, yeah.
radical.
no, not radical, because that's really way too much. But
Yeah.
like, and as far as they're smart,
Yeah.
Got you.
and how sometimes like you might not be able to get with somebody that's smart because
Right.
you might think they're talking down to you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, got
that's how it could kind of look like,
Mm.
Yeah, I
but
get it.
you just have to kind of be a good people
Mm-hmm.
person and things like that. But
True,
Okay.
true.
Yeah. We do have a couple comments. My mom says hi.
hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Mom. Shout out to my stepdad because it's his birthday today.
Shout
birthday.
out.
Happy
Happy birthday.
birthday. And we have a comment from Lewis that says, "Where's Big? I don't know. JUS? Just? I only watch when he's on. I don't know who that is, but I'm sorry we don't have him. So
I don't know.
I have a random question for
Yes.
the youth in this room. Most people probably don't know. I would say I guess I could say most that we have like a Texas House of Representatives and all this stuff. What you said you were pro marijuana, pro immigration reform. What can you do from the Texas House to further these things that you believe in?
Well, work with the elected officials that are already in there, and try to convince them to say, hey, what is wrong with trying to find a common ground,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Because it
Mhm.
seems like a lot of people are like, no, it's got to be this way, got to be this way.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, trying to actually just speak on it, talk and work with other legislators to say, look, how about we try this? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't get is you see when people create these laws and people reject them is because they're trying to sneak in some things that are like, whoa, like
Questionable.
right, really questionable things. But
Yeah.
there's so many pages in this legislature that it's easy to kind of skip over that,
Right.
so
Mhm.
you have to be careful about what you're doing, because if not, the public's going to single that out, or somebody's going to single that out to the public and say, well, look, this person voted on this or brought
Yeah.
up this because they try to make you look bad, and that's the thing is you just try to have to work together with other legislatures to try to get something done, but in a common sense kind of way, and to be logic about it.
Yeah.
So that's what you can kind of do with moving things forward like that. But I don't think it's being done because too many people are arguing. So
Yes.
that's why I think it's really important to see who you're electing, to see what their temperament is.
Mhm.
If you're just getting people that are just arguing or throwing slander at another
Right.
candidate,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to be good in their office, right?
Yeah.
so just things to look
True.
at like that.
That's
Yeah.
how I kind of
Mm.
that's how I kind of feel when we were talking about the whole with the riots and everything a couple of weeks back.
Right.
That I was talking about that you need to start learning from the lower level, like who's representing you, 'Cause,
Mhm.
yeah, you can yell at the president whether you're with him or not, but at the end of the day, he's limited in power too.
Mhm.
Right.
I
There's
like-
a lot of power in the governor. The
Mhm.
governor
Oh,
can
yeah.
say no, you know,
Mhm.
and even the mayor, to where they say, well, okay, well, we're going to do this, but it's tough. I'm not going to say it's easy, and I know Nuremberg
Mhm.
he's under a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
We could comment and do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, my hope is that a lot of these people that enter office are trying to do what's best,
Yeah.
but there are a lot that aren't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's really important to find out
Mhm.
what their track records are.
Right. Yeah.
Not dig for dirt. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. But no, in general, like you said, I don't really know how many people actually know that, like, when they pass a bill, that there's other stuff inside. Like, we know, like, there's always underlinings under there to get it through. Same with the whole stimulus check. That was the issue, that
Right.
they were trying to throw stuff in there. And I feel like a lot of the public don't understand that. So, like you said, they just see, oh, well, they turned down marijuana. But they
Yeah.
don't see, like,
Oh, Republicans turned this down, and
Yeah.
they don't like you. No,
Mhm.
there was
It's a lot
maybe a
more.
pro-abortion thing in there, and
Yeah.
or vice versa. Oh, let's open border completely, or you know what I mean. So it's
Right,
just
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
It's just voter education, and that's the thing that I really want us to fix our school system, because we're not
Mhm.
learning that stuff.
No,
no,
we're
no,
not.
no.
And
we're not.
we're not learning it in our homes. I know
No.
I didn't learn it. I was on the south side. My mom never
Same.
talked about it, and for some reason it was this unspoken thing. We don't talk about it. Just like,
Kinda like
my
sex.
the Bible was in the tucked away
Classroom.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just things like that we never talked about.
Yeah.
And I think the youth are talking about these things now, and I
Because of
think they're a little
everything that's going on.
misguided,
Mhm.
because they don't know where to get these things from.
Mhm.
But a lot of the parties are not focusing on youth, because they're saying they don't vote.
Mhm.
But I'm like, forget
They don't
that.
vote because they don't know.
Right. And I'm like, forget that. Why
Mhm.
not focus on the youth, so that way they can be encouraged to go
Yeah.
vote, but
Mhm.
vote with questioning everything,
Mhm.
not just vote blindly.
I know. Personally, for me, I've been eligible to vote obviously since I was 18, and I've never voted. Never. I've never voted, like, for president, for any of our governors, or nothing.
Right.
Because it's like you said, I don't know who to vote for. I'm not just gonna vote for anybody either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he told me, oh, you should vote for this person, or you
Right.
should vote for this person. I need to do the research, but because I'm not, I'm kind of like, well, I'm not gonna vote. You know what I mean?
Right. If you can figure out who's going to be the next bachelor or bachelorette,
Mhm.
you can figure out who's going to be the next governor. You know what I mean? So, but
I just feel like, I understand that there's the precautions because they need to verify everyone. I just feel like the whole hoops and hurdles you have to go through to vote, and the fact that you have to do it so
It's
early,
true.
I kind of feel like that. Also, that kind of like this year it was the last day to vote,
Mm.
and I went online to do it, and they're like, okay, well, now we need you to print this out, fill it out, and mail it out, and send it. I'm like, I'm not gonna go
I
and mail
had to
that out.
register to vote.
That was
Yeah.
I was going to be a question of mine, because we're seeing across the country that polling places are just magically being taken down
Mhm.
Right.
from places, and it's basically modern day voter suppression if you really want to think about it.
Jim Crow.
And especially with the pandemic and everything, voting in November might be extremely difficult, and vote by mail hopefully will be passed and all this stuff. What are your thoughts on vote by mail and ways that you could just make voting easier for youth trying to get into the process for the first time, or elderly people that are afraid to go out and vote because of the coronavirus?
well, I was, and I still am, pro vote by mail. And I know there have been some issues though with people submitting fake mail-in ballots and
Yeah.
things like that.
Facts.
So there's that part, and I get the both sides, and that's the thing. You have to look at both sides. So
Right.
why are people so set on no mail-in ballots? So why are people so set in yes, I want mail-in ballots? So
Right.
yes, I can see both sides, and there is security that needs to be in place, and I don't know what that security would look like, but maybe fingerprints or whatever it is. But I'm like, if we could do our taxes online, why can't we vote online?
Mhm.
I mean, we
Right.
have all this
Right.
two-factor authentication, but yes, you can have people, well, it can be easily hacked. Well, maybe we need to figure out a system to where we can start, voting online, but have it super encrypted. But
I'm gonna say they
It-
can super equip the banking online where
Right.
you can't get in without your password.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can do it for voting.
right, and so,
Exactly.
but I'm not an expert in it, so but
Yeah.
these are just my thoughts. Like,
Right.
well, why not?
Right.
I mean, I have my Social Security on my taxes,
Yeah.
so why can't you vote? And that would reach out a lot of kids too,
Mhm.
because
It
I
would.
mean everything's done on my phone, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just things like that, and the Voting Rights Act expiring doesn't help,
Mhm.
especially in Texas, where the Voting Rights Act is expiring this year, to where they will the redistricting of lines, the redrawing of how districts are set up,
Mhm.
were overseen by a federal judge every 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And every year they would at least find one issue that would hurt minorities as far as for their voting privileges. And now in 2021 they're not going to have an oversight of a federal judge, so it's just going to
So
be
that's it.
so the legislators are just going to be able to draw the lines without getting supervision from a federal judge. So
Oh wow.
that's something that we should be worried about, especially right now,
Yeah.
for a minority. You know it's just you don't know what people's objectives are.
Right.
Mhm.
So we have to be careful,
Yeah.
but just also learning about all these things, like, wow, like
Exactly. Yeah.
it's eye-opening.
Yeah. We have Julia. Shout out
Scandals
to
and
Julia
scandals.
from the Carpenter's Apprentice.
What
And
up?
Hey,
she
Julia.
said birthday card mailers. U.S. government should send everyone an 18th birthday card with a voter registration application.
Mm.
And that is actually a good idea. I mean,
It's like happy birthday, go vote.
I would have been okay with that.
The one thing that I understand why you have to like register. Obviously, if you move, depending on for certain things you have to vote based in your area where you're located. So I get that. But like when you update your address to the post service, why doesn't that get updated so that way they know like, hey, you moved to this district? 'Cause, I mean, for the most part, the people that are gonna take time
Yeah.
to vote are gonna be the people that keep their stuff up to date. Where like, hey, I moved here.
Mhm.
The person that's living with their mom, between their mom and their aunt, they don't really care less about voting. So them being updated or not, it's not gonna be a big deal. But obviously, like us that we lived in their same spot, we update our things so we can get our mail. We can vote. We're gonna go out there and vote if we have the option to. So why do I need to re-update it if you already know where I'm at? Obviously, when I get my speeding tickets, you're quick to mail it to where I live. So,
Facts.
The lawyers out there
I'll go on with
mailing
the lawyers,
stuff.
yeah.
You already know already. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, with the postal service updates, there's also sometimes where there's a lot of errors with postal service updates.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that could be the issue. And it doesn't really take that much
Mhm.
to go onto the Secretary of State's office website and change your address.
Mhm.
So it's not that bad. It's just people forget,
Mhm.
and then by the time it comes, you're like, you try to
Oh,
register.
damn.
Oh,
I forgot.
I'm registered in District 121 and not,
Right. Yeah.
and so it's just things like that it is. There are things that you can do, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't get updated.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think a lot of these people don't vote because it's either time consuming and they're like, I'm not gonna deal with this crap. Like this is just too much for me. I'm not.
It's like, or they're like, my vote doesn't matter.
Yeah, or a lot of them say like my vote doesn't count or my
Right.
vote doesn't
But
matter.
if everybody votes at once, twigs are easy to break at once, but all together you can't. I mean, if we all unite together and vote, there's nothing that can stop us.
Voter apathy is really at an all-time high.
Yep.
It's interesting to see how are you going to push through that, because like you said, libertarians are considered, I guess, the weird ones, even though they're down the middle.
Down the middle.
So how are you going to get the youth out there to try to vote for you? What is, I guess, your strike? I'm not asking for your full strategy, but how do you energize your base to get out there?
Honestly, it's
Right.
as simple as just talking to them, because nobody's talking to
Mhm.
them. Nobody, like, they're just being ignored.
Yeah.
That's why you have people just out there just trying to do something, but they're they don't know what to do. And then there are some that are, and that's great. And there's some that are not even able to vote yet, but they're starting to learn. Like,
Right. Yeah.
this one person called me and she was like, my daughter wants to ask you questions, and she's like 13, but she still wanted to. I was like, sure, and I told her, and just seeing that was like cool.
Mhm.
But I think social media, obviously, to get to people that are younger,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and yeah, it's it's difficult because it's honestly, I think it's like uncharted waters because nobody goes down this path
Right.
because nobody wants to bother with it.
Right.
Mhm.
And maybe that might be a reason why I lose or not, but I don't care. Like, I know that these kids need to be reached out
Yeah.
to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I'll try through social media. I'll try
Mhm.
through different things and just trying to
Mhm.
speak to them. But or maybe the protest marches,
Yeah.
or maybe whatever it is. But nobody sees people going there, and that's why they get kind
Yeah.
of complacent.
I just think a lot of politicians think that younger people, teenagers and just younger people, they don't understand, or they're maybe too
So
young
teach
to
them.
understand.
So teach them, right?
Yeah. And maybe they're too much in the gap that maybe they're not relatable. And I feel like with you, I feel like you're somebody that can relate
Mhm.
to younger people and can hear
Even
them
though
out.
I'm old,
and can-
but
Oh,
You're
whatever.
old.
Jose's over here calling us older.
I know,
We're
right?
3
He's like,
years
for the
older
young
than he
people in
is.
the
Yeah.
room, for the young people in the room, like,
Yes, I take the role as the millennial Gen Z type here, even though I'm neither thing. I have to live up.
millennial Gen Z, thank you.
Hey, I have to live up to my role.
I guess that's like the good part of this
Zillennial up in
podcast. That
here.
you
got
get
a
like
lot of generations.
you get a good view, and then a lot of our followers are the older generations that kind of
Yeah.
fit in. So it's a
Yeah.
nice little bubble. But yeah, I always felt like it's always been that way. Just like in general, where like you have to be a certain age to vote. Where like especially right now with the generation gaps in the era, like we were talking about just here in the room itself with Jose and everybody here. So
Mhm.
like obviously somebody, what's the minimum age to like run for president?
35?
35, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
35.
So like you're telling me somebody who's 35 over somebody who like Jose in his 20s, like there's a big gap there that views and opinions have changed in the 20-year gap between there. And it's like we're supposed to let those guys control the country because they're just older. Like that's
and I'm glad you brought that up. But in order to run for office, you have to pay filing fees,
Oh, really?
right?
Mhm.
And it's exorbitant amount of money.
What?
Yeah. So right off the
Wow.
bat,
lobbyists.
you have to be either rich
Mhm.
or get funded by somebody who has a lot of money, right?
lobbyists.
Yeah.
Interesting.
and the Libertarian Party and third parties, we didn't have to pay filing fees, but
Mm.
not until 2019. Republicans created a bill because they knew that we were
coming up.
starting to come
Coming
up
up.
a little
Mhm.
bit, and
trying to keep y'all down.
trying to keep us down, and that's
The
the thing is, and that's the thing is like
Mhm.
people don't understand that, and that's why I want to
Yeah.
fight, because
Illuminati.
I can go and try to run in these parties, but why? Like
Mhm.
I don't want to.
I knew that you need some type of funding, but
Mhm.
I didn't know that you need to pay in order
For
to
filing
run.
fees.
Just to
Mhm.
file.
Wow.
And that's not a guaranteed access. But for
Oh,
third
wow.
party, like for the most part, we try to stick in our own races and not try to, fight against each other.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but yeah, it's a major hurdle,
Wow.
and yeah.
How do you guys overcome that? Because
Yeah.
I mean, realistically,
Persistence.
I was gonna say realistically, libertarians might not ever hold like a power, like a lever of Congress or anything like that, and this two-party system that we've inherited kind of rules it. And
Yeah.
as you said, there, Republicans and Democrats are trying to keep the third parties down because they don't want them to swing the elections between them. So
Right.
how do you combat that as a libertarian or as anyone in the third party?
It's difficult, and I keep falling back to you have to just work with people, even though
Mhm.
there are other parties. Like you have to just wash away that whole party line, because you're going to continue to keep fighting each other. For what reason? You're not
Right.
making
Mhm.
anything better. You're just creating more division in government and outside
Yeah.
of the government, like it is already. And there is a congressman, Justin Amash, who's recently just switched over to a libertarian. He's the only libertarian in Congress right now in the U.S. Congress.
Oh, wow.
And you'll see him on
Mhm.
on Wikipedia or
Mhm.
Ballotpedia. You'll see his one little yellow dot in the seats, but just little changes like that. And yes, kind of how we were saying is
Could open doors.
you
for
could switch over
Mhm.
from a Republican to a Libertarian or Democrat to a
Mhm.
Libertarian, but not that many people do it because they either
Right.
get comfortable or they want to get
Yeah.
reelected. I get that, but I feel like I just have to keep pounding the ground and just keep doing it, and maybe I might not be able to do it, but at least maybe that might give some
Yeah.
inspiration to somebody else to do it
Mhm.
as well.
I mean, honestly, this is probably the best time for libertarians
Right.
because
seriously.
the Republican Party has turned into something that most like general like Reagan
Yeah.
Republicans don't enjoy anymore,
Yeah.
and they feel like it's kind of abandoned them. So hopefully the libertarians can just slide in and be like, hey guys,
Yeah. And
You know,
then
and-
Democrats, you don't even want me to get me started on Democrats because this is
it's finding common ground with voters.
Yeah.
And just being that light of a person to be able to guide people that way. But even as a party, sometimes we might not get support the way we should or
Yeah.
whatever it is. But a lot of times it just rests on the candidate.
Yeah.
And because we're not established
Mhm.
enough,
Mhm.
but that's why I just keep trying to do it,
Yeah.
Definitely. And I was like looking at your Instagram and everything, very interactive with your listeners, your
Mhm.
followers. I mean, I think that's a big key with today's generations, like
Right.
millennials, Z, was it Zillennials?
Zillennial.
Zillennials.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
But
they-
yeah, I mean, they look at that and they're like, "Oh man, this guy is really trying." Like, and then like you're like, "I'm looking somewhere to eat. Where you want to eat? I don't
that
want
was
Mexican food."
that was actually really that was actually really fun to do. But just things like just connecting and I think when this happened, because I'm actually kind of shy, right? And I feel weird going up to
So
people.
is G.
I'm kind of weird, like feel weird going up to people sometimes and talking about it. So like when social media is like all this started and it was
Mhm.
strictly just social media, I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? I was like,
Mhm.
oh, why don't I just get online, start posting resources and
Yeah.
helping people
Mhm.
with what they need,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
that's what a representative should do, right?
Right.
Help people
Mhm.
in need and figuring out
Give them the
segues.
material to
Right.
build themselves.
And this was perfect,
Yeah.
and I could have been doing the old, going to different events
Mhm.
but doing this, I feel like it directly impacts a lot
Yeah.
of people
Mhm.
personally,
Well, I'm glad you went to that event where
Yes.
we were filming Roy, because if not, we
Right.
would have met you. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
So that was an experience on its own.
that was
But,
fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun for us since we were not approved for any of that.
This is true. And then I think
Yeah,
Roy
and
told
then-
us, he goes, did they tell y'all, are y'all gonna move? I'm like, they didn't tell us to leave. They didn't tell us to leave yet.
Yeah, and then we were there and they were trying to push us off or tell us to go away, and there was that older lady that was like, you shouldn't do this to us because we pay taxes here, and she was kind of like talking to you about that and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that was interesting on its own.
So I actually did talk to the lady who was kind of responsible for kicking us out.
Mhm.
Actually, it was weird coincidentally, but she had gotten complaints and she didn't know what was going on.
Right.
She was like, well, this is what I got to do, but
Mhm.
and I don't hold anything against her.
Right.
No, no,
'cause-
no, no.
Yeah,
But,
I understand. I mean, this wasn't planned with
Yeah.
anybody. It was just kind of like a
Well,
let's
yeah,
go over there and see what's
'cause
up.
supposedly, what I had heard at that day was that supposedly they got complaints that there was, because of the music, that it was down the street, and then
the cars are parked
and then
on the
because
grass.
Yeah.
and then because people were pre-voting inside, that technically they could play, like he could make announcements saying who to vote for. So that's why they shut the music down. But
Even though they have a lot of candidates there.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
That was the one thing that we
yeah,
were
that
laughing
was
at. We were like-
crazy, right?
I was like, they got all the candidates outside telling you to vote, but
Mhm.
but the guy
Crazy.
can't. The DJ doesn't even care. He's just there to play music. Can't be out there. Which
Right.
I get the DJ part. I was like, but telling us all in general, like just get up and leave. I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
That was
that was the dumb
Weird.
part of it. But,
yeah.
We
it was a learning.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
but it made a good video.
Yeah.
you guys mentioned social media earlier. How do you campaign? I kind of touched on this earlier. How do you campaign right now with Corona and all that stuff? How do you have these events with everything that's going on? And like, what percentage would you say your campaign is on social media? Because that is the platform for the youths, as I continue to refer
For
to
the
us
youth.
as.
Right.
The youth.
Honestly, it's about 90% online right now.
Mm.
And it's just engaging.
Mhm.
I follow a couple people who are strategizers with social media. Maybe social butterfly girl. She's
Oh,
very
yeah.
good at, and I always like to listen to what she's saying, because it's good stuff, and just figuring out how to be able to engage, and making
Yeah.
sure what things are important to engage with, right? So um just doing things like that, and
Mhm.
posting resources and answering questions as soon as I can, or doing live streams, which I
Mhm.
was terrified of doing because I was always a photographer, so I would always be behind
You're
the
always in the
camera.
background, yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm in the front.
so
Yeah, yeah.
that was difficult for me. I'm like, man, I sound dumb, and but I started getting comfortable with it and just doing live streams and educational, resource videos to
Mhm.
say, hey, this is what I'm going. And then I started reaching out to people like with April from Live from the South Side, and
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Shout out to April.
right, April, which yeah, we'll talk later. But yeah, just other people that I've been engaging that have given me a platform,
Mhm.
which is awesome, because they don't have to. Just like Roy, Roy, I appreciate Roy because he's given a platform to people who otherwise would not have had, especially in the political
Right.
world. And I'm grateful for Roy, and just other people that have just seen my passion for this,
Yeah.
and the love that I have to do this, not for any other type of gain, just other than to represent
Yeah.
the actual community from my heart. So
Yeah.
as sappy as it sounds, it's true.
I think regarding Roy, it's even better, with him, because he doesn't care what type of political party you're in. He doesn't care. I mean, of course, unless you're advocating for like bad stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But as long as he just wants for people to vote, he doesn't care what political party you're in. He'll give you the platform for you to, talk whatever you need to say regarding your political stance and all that stuff. He just wants people to go out and be aware and vote, and that's what's great about having
Right.
him as a platform to use.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, he just wants you to understand the topics, so you're not voting just because it's a Republican or
Right.
it's a Democrat.
Right.
That's what I know he had done. I don't know if you were there, where like all the candidates were together and he was interviewing everybody.
I think I was there. Was that
Not,
night?
no, it was a different, like I think it was like a week before. So he went,
Oh.
and then like one of the campaign managers knew who he was,
Oh,
and they were like, "Oh, well, you're gonna tell him that you were a criminal, this and that." And he just like stops, like, "Hey, everybody, I like to smoke weed. So if you don't want to do the interview, fine, but I'll still do the interview." And then like only like the campaign managers, like
That's Roy.
only the campaign managers, like the two candidates that he was like managing left, but everybody else stayed. He's like, they don't care. He's like, you're giving them free space.
Mm-hmm.
He's all, they're not gonna care on your views.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, you may get somebody who's not in your party, but they see that interview and they're like, oh, you know what, that
Right.
I can relate to that. Let me go
Right,
to that,
yeah.
instead of just like, oh, well, my dad's a Republican, so I gotta become a Republican.
Right,
and
right.
vote.
Yeah.
And I've told people is go to these forums that they have, or online forums, and just see how their mannerisms are, right? You can
Mhm.
see who is just reading from a script
Right.
and not passionate about it, or just, oh, well, I've done this and I've done that. Okay, so what?
Yeah, this
You
is
know.
a new situation.
Yeah.
And just I've spoken up there, and I've spoken from the heart, and I might have had like a few bullet points, but yeah, I might have messed up a few times on my
Mhm.
speeches or whatever, but I know that I'm like, well, I did it. I gave it my all,
Mhm.
even though I might have sounded like an idiot, but I still tried to say it from the heart,
Right.
and,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and maybe that might not go anywhere, but at least I know that I'm like, okay, well, I left it all out there.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd appreciate if we could stop shaming politicians and people that are speaking in general, like large public gatherings. If they trip over a word, let's relax.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Maybe
know.
maybe let's calm down. It's hard to
As-
give public speeches.
It
As
is.
professionals that have to read these scripts weekly, we know.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I might bust balls with G because he reads at a 4th grade level, but that, I mean,
Hey!
at the end of the day, I'm not saying that he has like some kind of disease or wrongness because he can't read.
But I feel like that's where the social media aspect helps. Well, can help and hurt, because like there that you're like, oh, where to eat, do this different stuff. Yes, you could go out and every week give out food and make that your thing and make people get that. But at the end of the day, people are gonna know like, oh, well, he's only giving out food because he's running.
Right.
As like there, if you're like, oh, here, look, these are the guidelines, and it's like you said, it's showing like what you would do as an office. Like if you were in office, you'd be like, here are the same guidelines that I'd be giving you if you were there that I know. So it's like there's a lot of people that are running that probably don't even bother to think about that, and they're just like, okay, well, let me put this issue that I want to talk about, and not themselves.
You know, I've told people this. I really struggle with. I don't ever want people to think I'm not authentic, and I never want people to think I'm doing something just to benefit myself. And that's I really struggle with that because I don't want people to feel like that because I'm not, you know. And so when I see things, I'm like, well, I could do this, but I'm like, well, maybe people will take that the wrong way if I donate to a small business or do something, or you know, and I don't want it to come across as oh, they're just doing it for political gain. And I struggle with that, you know. But people tell me like, look, just do what you gotta do.
Just do it.
Yeah, because
People are gonna judge you whether you do it or not.
I was gonna say because that's how I feel. Not even just like politic wise, just like in general. Currently, right now, in this atmosphere that we're in right now, even like social media people, you can tell who are fake by what they've been doing lately. There's a certain one that I follow all the time, and they're literally just promoting small businesses because they got their business getting ready to open. And they're literally just showing up to places so that way later they're going to turn around and tell them, well, I promoted you, now go ahead and promote me back. And it's just like, that's not why you should be doing it. You should be wanting to show love to these small businesses because they're struggling in this time that it's hard to get going in. Not just let me give you a rub so later you can scratch my back. And it's just like it's dumb. I was like, if that's the case, then don't do it.
I've been part of a group before that we were called a cash mob, and we would basically have like a group of 20 or 30 people. We pick a small business, we go in there, and we just spend whatever we can, at least $20. And you have 20 or 30 people go into a small business, spend $20, $30.
Hey,
like, boom, like
that's a lot of support right there.
Yeah, you know, just little things like that you know we can do to kind of help, especially right now. You know, or like a bar, or you know, and it's just trying to think outside the box to do that. But yeah, again, you know, then people are gonna say, well, you're just doing it. But no, it's who cares? I'm not doing it for that, you know.
Exactly.
We do have some comments. As Albert says, hello amigos and amiga.
What
Hi
up?
Albert.
What up, Albert?
Shout out to Natasha from Norteño 210 because she's finally back from New York.
Yes.
She landed last
Thank you for your
night.
service.
I don't know where she's at. She's in
Quarantine.
Is it-
She's probably getting some tacos right
She's
now.
quarantined in a hidden location.
Yeah.
Bunker.
I don't know.
Lackland.
We have Cynthia that says hola. Hi. Shout out to Cynthia and DJ Act 6. Of
And
course,
Chrono
I
Theory.
wasn't fan of the week.
I was fan of the week. Shout out.
Shout out.
Whatever.
Make sure you check out DJ X6 on Wednesdays and Saturdays and comment and post throughout the week. And if you get your top fan badge like me, you may go ahead and get be one of the ones that get drawn to be the fan of the week.
It's rigged.
And your name
Fan
gets
of the
showing
week.
up on the live stream. Somebody's just a hater because she's not a top fan.
And
Fan
we
of the
have
week.
Rob Sizzle. It says, I miss when I had my show. Well, then you should make another one.
Hell
Come
The
back.
possibilities are endless.
Come back, Rob.
You can
Come
do
back.
it.
Come back.
I
Rob.
believe in you.
We got you.
I have a one more question. I guess that's specific.
Youth, you need to calm down, youth.
You're right.
I'm just
You're right.
kidding.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
Use.
It's youths.
Oh, youths.
with-
Youths.
Yes.
Sorry.
Come on. It's like Joe Pesci.
Uh,
But you said earlier you're pro marijuana and all that stuff. If I assume if you poll people on favorability for legalization and all that stuff, it'll be in the 60 to 70%. How and you said earlier as well that you're all about trying to talk to people, convincing the other side or whoever to join your cause.
The dark side.
The other side. It did not say the dark side.
The dark side.
We got cookies.
How do you convince someone that, for example, you would like to legalize marijuana in one of the most Republican states there is in Texas? How do you even get started with that? Because like you said earlier, we're very dug in our ways. I'm just going to generalize here. Older people are typically not a fan of legalization of marijuana, and they typically make up the representatives that house us and everything. So how do you get that started, and how do you convince someone that's been dug into their ways like that?
You know what you can tell them? Mind your goddamn business.
Focus on the youth. Focus on the youth.
Look, 'cause exactly. Let me tell you, anyone that supports that, the youth vote's right behind it.
Right,
You've got 20%.
No, but it's trying to put it in a logical aspect of figuring out, okay, well, why do you not support it? A lot of people, well, I don't think that's right.
I don't like
Why
the
not?
smell. I don't
Yeah, okay, well, I don't like the smell. I don't like the smoke, but is it really going to affect you? You know what I mean? But it's trying to find out why and trying to break it down to where you're reversing it and saying, well, here might be a good thing why you might want to do it, or not do it, but change your perspective on it. Like, how many people have you interacted with that you've had a negative interaction with that has smoked pot?
I have.
Yeah.
They don't fall asleep. They don't pay attention to me.
What? I'm like, what? When was this?
So do you think it's feasible? Do you think something like that is feasible in a state like Texas, whether it be for tax purposes or for product and generating money and all that stuff?
I think with the introduction of CBD, which obviously you could see that exploded, you could start putting numbers in these people's face. Like, okay, well, look at the numbers for CBD. How much has that grown? How many businesses have grown from that?
A lot.
Yeah. Right. So how are other states faring with legalizing?
A lot of money.
Right. So, you could start putting it into how they see it in numbers, or I mean, even if you want to say in votes, but that's still not what the ultimate goal is, right? You don't want to just do it for votes,
Right. Yeah.
But how do you speak to that? And those are just those certain ways, like just money and figuring out, hey, look, these are the good things that can come out of it, and not putting people in jail. But there are a lot of people who are pro jail because they want those jails to be stocked, and that's a sad thing, because a lot of people are in jail for just selling marijuana, and we live in a prison system,
right?
Union, and
Yeah.
that needs to change.
Yeah.
Would you want to swipe like all of those like misdemeanor charges off if in a hypothetical world we could somehow do this?
Yep. I would get them all out of jail who has been convicted of just selling marijuana or having marijuana possessions, because that's somebody, I think there was a interview with somebody in Los Angeles, and he said, I did it because I didn't feel like it was wrong. I was just doing it, and I was helping my family, and it's not like it's a bad drug, but it's they did it, and now look at how much it's grown, and they're using it for good. They're using it for cooking.
Yeah.
They're using marijuana for cooking, and it's just things like that we have to get out of that mindset. We're not back in the 1950s anymore.
I watched this YouTube person, and he probably gets annoyed because I watch her like all the time. She talks about like murders and mysteries and stuff, and there was one in Canada where the guy was locked up, but the prison system in Canada is to where you get a lesser sentence, but you get different resources that help you, like if you're your mental and your emotional state and stuff like that, to kind of help you to go back into the world, and I mean not the world, to go back into society, and because a lot of people that get out of prison, they're kind of like, I don't know what to do. My life is like, this is all I've known, that I'm used to it, and I don't know what to do now that they're in the outside world.
Right. And trying to educate people that are in prison that, putting more resources in there, other than just have them just sitting around.
Right.
There are people that want to learn in there, and there's only a certain time period. there's only a certain amount of people that they can get in to these classes or whatever. So a lot of people have to wait in line.
Yeah.
And I know because my son's birth mom, she was in jail, and she was gonna wait to get onto this program, and she wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, well, they're giving me a choice of getting out or waiting to go into the program. So she took
Right.
the way out, you know,
Yeah.
and then she, I don't know where, where she's at, but she might already be back in prison, you know what I mean? So, but putting in those resources to help and maybe reform the people that are in there, that would help.
It
Not
would.
just keep
Yeah.
them in there and for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not for no reason, but
Mhm.
put them in there and try to make them better. And also to businesses to hire people
Right.
who
Oh, yeah, that too.
are
It's
Yeah.
past
hard to
criminals
do
and
that, yeah.
felons.
Well, that's what I heard. That was like the whole like ass backwards of the whole like passing of the legalization is that they were letting some of the people go because of the charges, like the misdemeanors, but then now they couldn't open a shop because they had a misdemeanor.
Right.
Like it's so like strict on how to get one open, so it's like you're laying them out. Now they can actually start an actual business and do things correctly and get out of trouble, but they can't because you gave them a misdemeanor that they had before this was legal.
Yeah.
So now they have to go do something else and end up back in there because they couldn't just legally open up a weed shop so they can grow weed like they were doing before they got busted.
And if you look at there's a show called Broken Bread on Hulu.
Mhm.
It's with chef Roy Choi. He
Mm.
goes and he meets up. It's called Homeboy Industries,
Mhm.
and it's all these former gang members. They've hired all these former gang members. They're from both sides,
Mhm.
and now they're cooking pastries
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
together, and they have a job and
Yeah.
they're supporting themselves and just little things like that. And they hire them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, if you have a foul mouth and have a bad attitude, I want you.
Mm-hmm.
that was the guys, And I think we need more people like that to
Yeah.
give people an outlet.
Yeah. For sure.
And a stable way to come back into the community. And we don't
Yes.
have a lot of people like that. So
Yeah.
I think that's why we need to focus on businesses that are like that, or try to convince businesses to do that.
To hire people.
Right.
Mhm.
And I know they're not going to be, they're going to have issues,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you want things to change.
Right. Yeah.
Change them,
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
They need to give Gordon Ramsay a show and have the convicts on there.
He did. He
They'd be
did.
like, boy,
he had a show that he recruited. He actually went to the prison and had their team cook in the prison, but they had to check out every knife. If the knife wasn't back there, they couldn't
Dang,
leave.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
Wait, what was the name of the show?
it was
again?
from Gordon Ramsay, and he was over in
Oh,
UK.
I
And
didn't
and
know
they
he
and
did
what
that.
they what they would do is whatever they would cook or bake,
Mm-hmm.
they would go. Gordon Ramsay would go and sell it, and then he would bring back the profits. And
Just,
right.
Wow,
put it on
that's
their
nice.
books. Mm.
right,
Yeah.
so just things like that.
That's really
like,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I have Angelica saying, yes, I love watching her too. Yes, Bailey Sarian on YouTube. She's great. And I have Cynthia saying, Tute Culture, thanks for providing this creative space and always being relevant and not shying away from tough topics.
Always.
Thank you.
I have a selfish question now.
Nitty gritty.
Hi,
have-
youths.
I have a
Look at
self.
you.
I have. I,
Youths.
I have a purely selfish question. So why is sports gambling illegal, especially in a place like Texas, where
We love our
We
sports.
everyone loves their sports. I'm sure you're a sports guy probably because everyone is. Why is something like that illegal when the benefits to the state could be so high? I don't know if it's just like I was mentioning an old guy thing that they don't believe that it can
An
be
old
done
guy thing.
here. But we places are legalizing it every day. Honestly, I assume it's
Do-
going to be legal soon. But
Do you literally want the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl every year because the refs are gonna rig it?
Yes.
yes, of course.
Yes.
course. Yeah. See-
yeah, there's that point, where a lot of things will be rigged and all that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably because they want their share of the cut,
Mhm. Always.
but they're probably not going to get it. So that's why we have all these people that are, and that's the thing with marijuana is, well, we got to ban it. Well, then
Why?
you would get a cut of it, right? So we're going to ban the gambling too. Well, why not make it legal and
Exactly.
make a cut of it too?
Mhm.
It
You get
seems,
money, you
it
get
seems
paid.
like Texas of all places would I could see multiple casinos just popping up everywhere in Texas. I feel like it'd be such a popular thing
That's
but it's it's demonized, I guess.
And
I
then
think because you
Demons.
can put it as people start getting an addiction, you
Mhm.
know. But again,
Demons.
that's your own personal
Mhm.
It's
choice.
kinda like
you know?
alcoholism.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was gonna say,
it's
and
your
that's-
choice to be
and then it
happy.
kind of helps because at the end of the day, instead of having to do like tax cuts or raise taxes, you can just raise it on that, and then that kind of helps a little bit out. Yeah, you're gonna have the gamblers complaining, but at the end of the day,
That's a small
it's
portion.
kind of like the alcohol tax. Like it's higher than regular taxes, but we're not.
And
really,
people probably won't even notice.
yeah, people aren't
No.
noticing. They're still gonna pay it because they still want their alcohol.
I like
Oh, yeah.
you could tax marijuana out the ass. People are still gonna buy it. You can do the
Exactly.
same thing with sports
Facts.
gambling.
well, it's kind of like property taxes. People still pay it. They
Yeah.
don't know they can protest it,
Mhm.
but they still pay it.
So bad.
And people are starting to realize, oh, and I'm been pushing this on my pages is fight your property taxes, fight them, and people don't know how to do it. They,
So-
you know, and
I was about to
I
say,
didn't
explain.
know
Can
you
you
can
explain that?
fight-
Because
yeah.
Sure.
because
I was
people
like, I
again,
don't
people
know.
probably don't know what that means.
So obviously,
Start
if you-
riots.
if you have a
It's because
home,
most of the youths don't own homes.
You,
Yeah, I definitely don't. What is
No.
a property
Here-
tax?
All right, guys, we're
Here's
running
the-
out of time. Let them talk.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you-
so basically, if you own a home, you're paying property taxes, which is going to NEISD, fire, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
right? So every year you get an appraisal. So let's say your home is worth $100,000. That's what they value it at. You can go in and you protest your taxes to say no, it's not worth that much, and you say it's only about 80. Then they'll give you an offer, you reject it, and then you go into a formal interview to go get it protest again, and then you can knock it down if you can explain to them why you think it's a lower value. When you lower the value, then you're paying less every month to your mortgage or to your property taxes. So a lot of people are just paying these taxes and they're getting taxed out of their home, and then they're getting gentrified. So that's why all these people are losing homes, because the money keeps raising, the property taxes keep raising,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and now we're pushing them out of their homes.
Right. Yeah.
So, and now you're having all these homes that are, in Southtown that are
Mhm.
slowly
Right,
encroaching
yes.
onto the south side,
Yeah.
and nobody fights them.
Is this something you need a lawyer for? Or can
No,
you,
I did it myself
Where can you do this at?
the Bear County Appraisal District, but you
Mhm.
could do it online. Takes 5 minutes to do it,
Mhm.
to reject it. They'll to e-file, and then it takes 5 minutes to reject it. And then you have to go into your formal review, which people don't want to do because it's like, oh, I got to go over there. But I took $23,000 off my evaluation, and I probably saved
Whoa.
maybe $500, but that's $500 to go in my pocket.
Okay,
Mhm.
$500,
And that's
$500.
$500 or $23,000 that could help somebody not get kicked out of their home,
Yeah.
in the neighborhood. So it's just, we have to be aware of what's going on here.
Wow.
So, and I
There you
actually
go,
had
people.
somebody email me as soon as I gave them the food box
Mhm.
and I told them about this. They emailed me like 10 minutes later. I'm so thankful for you telling me this because I didn't know that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Of course.
That's
And then,
Fight for your house, people.
and
Yes.
then if,
Fight.
and then of course, if everybody fights for it, then the value goes down. So then they can't jack them up next year either.
Yeah.
And then you keep fighting them. And
You have to
keep
do it
That's
every
true.
year. You have to
Yes.
do
Oh,
it
you have
every
to do it
year.
every year.
Even if you
Mhm.
have your home professionally appraised by somebody else, and it's the appraisal district sends you an evaluation lower than what your appraisal was, you still want to protest it regardless. So, and if you have questions, you can ask me later.
Wow. Okay.
And where can people find you?
On Eric
Yes.
J. Velasquez for Texas House of Representatives District 118 on Facebook, and then Eric J. Velasquez for TX House 118.
Can
on
we
Instagram.
donate to your campaign directly? Is there a place to do that?
Yes, it's on Facebook. You can go on there. Honestly, you can donate. I would appreciate. But like I don't really see the need too much to buy any other signs or anything. What I do whenever I do get money, as far as because I haven't really asked for any donations.
Mhm.
Any of my money that I do get, personally, I try to donate to small businesses. So I feel like that's a
great.
better avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal. I haven't gotten any donations really.
Mhm.
But that's because I don't really focus
Donate
on signs.
now.
I don't really focus on buying signs or anything like that. But I would definitely, if you do donate, I would definitely try to just donate to a small business that might need help, like the businesses that were vandalized with graffiti on the south
Yeah.
Yeah, I
side.
saw that.
You
The
know.
bakery and all that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so just things like that. But Yeah, but that's where all my stuff is at. And even if you don't follow politics, you can at least follow resources that I post on there as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he
what
does.
district are you running for again?
District 118.
We have to repeat this stuff for the people in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yes, District
Thank you.
118.
118.
The youth.
So yeah, definitely follow. Like I said, and then remember, come November.
November.
So with that being said, thank you again for taking time
Thank
to come
you.
out here and
Yeah,
talk with
for
us.
sure. Thank you.
Yes.
And hopefully this was entertaining and informational for y'all at home as it was for us,
Was,
because I learned a
yeah.
new
Very.
bunch of
Mhm.
stuff. So that being said, I'm G.
I'm Dom.
And Donna.
And remember, for 210 Culture,
Bringing the best of 210 Nation.